What's up, guys? It is Monday, June 5th. It's 5:58 p.m. And this is going to be a crypto newsletter, but I first wanted to do a little follow-up to the market update I posted a little bit earlier because I totally forgot about this fractal pattern that I laid out in the video. I think it was the one that said June 12th on it. So I'll pull that up if you want to watch the whole thing from before. So it was this video right here, June 9th to June 12th, crypto volatility incoming. Today it is the 5th, but I laid out in this video the fractal pattern that I was kind of analyzing on Bitcoin. So let me go to that part. Yeah, here it is. So this was one fractal pattern that I had covered, but then there was another one, I believe, that I reversed. So this was one fractal that I had shared, but then there was another video I did a couple weeks ago that showed another fractal. It was the crypto boom incoming altcoin summer ion June 12th. So that June 9th to June 12th time frame, something's about to happen. And there's a lot of things that could line up with that. But I had covered this fractal in the video from 4 days ago. And then I had covered a fractal that I found 13 days ago. This fractal is very interesting that I found for Bitcoin because it's a little more unique in a sense. So I'm going to play this real quick. So one thing that I noticed, right? So I'm going to hide this. I'm taking this point, December 12th, as the kind of anchor, the vertical anchor. And I was looking at kind of this pattern on the right side. And literally, if you kind of fold it over to the left side, it's the same thing. It really is the same thing. And I'll show you that to be the case. So if I take this middle anchor and I take the bars pattern, I stretch it over, right? And then, so that's the pattern right here. And then I'm going to keep it at the anchor and I'm just going to flip it. So we flipped it and then I'm going to drag it to where it should start. So this should start there. And look how it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So we pull up here, go back down, pull up, then we go sideways, and then ultimately we have a big move. So if that's going to be the case, we're going to have a big move here. That's what I believe. There's also other things that I'll show you right after this. But basically, if we look at the time as well, when is this potentially going to happen? We have to look at, so from here to when we had that big candle spike, so 182. Then if I go and I take it now and drag it to the right, 182, that says June 12th, the week of June 12th. So we should, what happens on the left happens on the right, have a pretty solid move. So we're going to get an update on this fractal because it seems like it played out. So let's go to it right here and we're going to do both fractals. So what I did was, right, I took that anchor. So this was actually this right here. So I had copied this pattern and then I flipped it over like this and then see how it matches. And then if you drag it up, and I got to get in line with that anchor, it's playing out as it should. It said that we were supposed to have a pop up here. We did go sideways here. We did pop up. We did then come up a little bit more, which we did, and then kind of crash down here, which we did. And on this kind of tail end right here, which was this right here, I said we were supposed to have one more crash down, which we're on the part where we're supposed to do that. And then what happens next is we're supposed to rise. We're supposed to have some maybe event that happens and we're supposed to rise here. So in 6 days, this candle closes. I mean, we could keep going down a little bit more, but ultimately what it says is next week, which is the week of the 12th, we should either at the tail end of this week or on the weekend into next week, have something, an event that pushes us back up. And then we continue on based off this fractal. So let me delete this again and show you what I did. So I grabbed right here and we could even flip this kind of how I did it in the other video and now kind of get an update on that. So that would be this right here, right? So this is in line. So now we're at the tail end. So as you can see, as time has gone on now, we're right here in comparison. The next candle that comes in is supposed to be a big one. And yeah, so it definitely has been panning out to a T as far as this fractal goes. So this is a very kind of different way of looking at it. So now let me take this and go to there. And now I'm going to flip this back and line that up. And yeah, so we're right at what is supposed to be the moment or the week right before we start to go up again. So we'll see what that event is. But keep in mind, though, there can also be an inverse kind of deviation away from that, where instead of a big move to the upside, we could have a big flash crash down. So we need to be aware of that. But I think with everything that I shared in the video earlier today, I think that we likely have bottomed, or we could go down a little bit more, hit like 24.5 or 25.2. But I don't think we'd go anything more substantial than that. But as you can see, we're in line with our anchor. So now I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to flip it back to there. And then you can see if I match it up, what happens on the left happens on the right. And then I'll drag this up to show you kind of in comparison where we're at. I'll drag this up and you can see, happens on the left, happens on the right. It's the same thing repeating over and over again. So that's that fractal. So that says next week, big move. But also we have this one from back here that we covered. And that would be in line with this capitulation moment, like COVID black swan, FTX black swan. And then let me actually hide these now. And then we ultimately find our bottom here. We set the range back up. We have our first little hump and going sideways like that. First little hump going sideways like that. We have our pop up, we roll over. We have our pop up, we roll over. Pop up, roll over. And then higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. And then we have this. Now let me clean this up, where we have the trend line coming down, and then we have the trend line coming down, trend line coming up. Then ultimately we squeeze and then we push up. So we still are in this trend line like this, or we could even pull it like this as well too, where we have this low, that wick, drag it up a little bit. So we're still on par with the fractals and on par with the course. So that spells that big move this week, which will spill into a bigger move next week. So this could be a scare event right before a big move to the upside based off of an event or a narrative or something like that. But as you can see, we're right on par. And even like if we're analyzing the fractal, this says as well too, June 12th, June 19th is the breakout moment. So we're here. So if we can see a stock RSI cross up, then that's what's going to really, on a weekly chart, on a 3-day, some of those medium to high time frames, then we'll really rip up. And then also with the dollar looking like it's rolling over, that's a good sign as well too. So now let's go into the news. Obviously, we all know at this point that the SEC sued Binance and CZ. They labeled like 18 cryptos as far as securities that they were selling or offering on the platform. So let me go to that. And here was the announcement from the official Twitter of the SEC. Supposedly said we are operating as a FN unlicensed security exchange in the USA, bro. Or the Binance chief compliance officer said in 2018, supposedly. But let's keep going. So brought 13 charges against Binance. And then let's see what coins. Solana, Cardano, Polygon, Cody, Algorand, Filecoin, Cosmos, Sandbox, Axie Infinity, and Decentraland, supposedly. So we have that. So we all know that this is going on. They're saying that they're going to fight it. But also the SEC removes Hinman's biography with only 8 days left to publicly release the Hinman document. So they removed his biography off the website of the SEC right here. So the SEC has now removed Bill Hinman's biography from its website, getting ready to throw him under the bus. Seems like it to me. I mean, why else would they do that? Before they had the biography, now there's nothing. 8 days before they're supposed to release that. So then if we keep going, we have some questions as to why the SEC did not name XRP as a security token in the Binance lawsuit. According to some of my legal sources, it could be one or all of a couple reasons. The SEC wants to stay away from risking inconsistent decisions. It's already being litigated and referenced in other lawsuits. If Ripple wins strategically, it weakens the SEC's case against Binance in the eyes of the public, Congress, and the press. Makes sense. So then we have in this last week alone, XRP has surged over 10%, and year to date, this digital currency has increased by 35% against the US dollar. If you go into it, it says it defies the market trends as network activity rises, supporters optimistic of lawsuit outcome. Santiment noted in a tweet dated May 29th, XRP has now had its second and third largest address activity spikes of all time these past 2 days. Huge spikes. So the rise in XRP's value coincides with the ongoing legal tussle between Ripple and the SEC. And that's supposed to be SEC has to unveil the Hinman docs. And I don't know if they're going to want to do that. So there's all this talk. I mean, they're coming out the gate strong right now, 8 days before having to release that. It could just be a scare event that then turns into resolution between the SEC and Ripple case, which then turns to a resolution for the digital asset industry at large and regulations in the US, which then will pump up the markets. So then also Apple Vision Pro, new mixed reality headset. You have Apple, they released their headset. Supposedly they have a partnership with Render and a couple other coins, but the future's here. And like the fourth industrial revolution technologies are going to shine throughout this next year, 2 years, 3, 5 years, this decade. So it's all just a facade, in my opinion, as far as just trying to scare people out of these digital assets. Then we got the U.S. House Republicans' draft bill for the SEC oversight over crypto exchanges is maybe a starting point rather than a bill that's going to 100% for sure go through as is. So they had like the digital asset security kind of bill that they proposed. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here it is. So we have the Congress introduces a game-changing crypto bill amid 350 billion Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, and XRP price pump. It's called I forget what the name of it's called, but supposedly it's supposed to put more oversight within the CFTC rather than the SEC. It's about 130 pages. But so we're seeing the regulatory kind of environment really heat up and accelerate right now. And there's an all-out battle. JP Morgan moves to improve dollar banking with blockchain amid USD losing dominance as the top foreign exchange currency. And JP Morgan has partnered with 6 major Indian banks, which include HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, Yes Bank, Induslin Bank, and JP Morgan's own banking giant, and they aim to expand the capacity of the existing settlement system. The platform will allow the banks to process instant transactions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Under the current interbank settlement system, transactions could take up to several hours. Additionally, settlement is not available on Saturdays and Sundays or public holidays. JP Morgan's blockchain pilot will remove this barrier. So they're utilizing JP Morgan's blockchain platform Onyx after approval from the International Financial Services Center Authority. So JP Morgan launched its Onyx blockchain-based platform in 2020, aiming to improve the quality of wholesale payment transactions. And the news comes amid JP Morgan currency strategists pointing out some signs of emerging de-dollarization. De-dollarization is evident in foreign exchange reserves, where the dollar share has declined to a record as share in exports, but is still emerging in commodities. There we go. Then we have Bank of International Settlement Project Leap's success paves the way for the BIS Innovation Hub Eurosystem Center, Bank de France, and Bundesbank, the Dutch bank, to build a complete chain of trust for central bank applications, acting as a blueprint for the financial system. So we're seeing a lot of things heat up from the BIS. We'll cover this in another video and go more into depth, because there's a bunch of other things that they release as far as projects kind of concluding. Then we have the Digital Monetary Institute. The public and private sector are using new technologies to improve the impact and extend the reach of green finance. Someone from the BIS said and discusses it in detail. So Project Genesis 2.0, this is July 19th, which is crazy because in the summary of events that I'm writing, it's funny because the first thing I have on here is Project Genesis. And now we have an update as far as that's happening. The update to that is happening July 19th, day after my birthday. There we go. So I'm going to do a whole video separately on these big key things, but just an overall overview of everything. Several of the largest altcoins show undervaluation when combining short, medium, and long-term realized capitalizations. Market caps are above realized caps for XRP, ADA, Doge, Matic, SHIB, Uni, and Link, hinting many may make up ground this summer. So even though XRP is in the 50 cent region, they're saying based off the micro, medium, and macro realized capitalizations, it's undervalued. And I would agree. So then if we keep going up here, we have a lot of events going on, like this R3, the future of finance. What are we doing about regulated stablecoins on June 22nd? We also have US Treasury set to unleash a tsunami of bonds, Wall Street warns, which would cause interest rates to rise. Also, we have, so there was the bill clarifying regulatory classification of digital assets. I mean, they already have kind of an outline, a framework. Goldman Sachs, the Dataonomy, Goldman Sachs, MSCI, and Coinmetrics collaborate to create a new framework for the classification of digital assets. This was November 2022. So they already kind of have it. So let's keep going. So we're seeing a lot of talk about XRP on all these mainstream kind of news outlets. XRP remains close to a 2-month high despite shift in market momentum. XRP is one of the strongest right now. Then we have using the country's debt as a political weapon undermines confidence of investors in the US government. So they're talking about how, it's threatening the dollar's global reserve currency credibility and status. We got Larry Fink from BlackRock coming out saying that, a bunch of other billionaire investors, and also a lot of high-ranking people saying that. So then we have Russia's Rosbank teams up with a fintech platform to facilitate cryptocurrency payments for Russian companies. So Rosbank has become the first large Russian bank to offer clients an option to use cryptos in international settlements, right? So let's keep going. I believe the fireworks in the real Bitcoin bull market will begin in the late third and early fourth quarter of this year. That's Arthur Hayes. So Arthur Hayes, he was the guy I was telling you about when I kind of figured that Pepe was going to pop off way earlier on. Kept seeing him post a lot about a Pepe before Pepe even came out with a coin. So when I saw it the first day or second day after Pepe launched, I was like, it's going to be big. Because they give hints. These guys, these OGs give hints. They're in the know. So lawmakers emphasize the importance of coordination across government departments and agencies impacted by crypto, digital assets, and blockchain. The crypto SAR needed to ensure a coordinated approach in the UK. So there's a whole report. The Reserve Bank of India has released draft cybersecurity directions for digital payments. Then if we go to this, FedNow. So when we flip the switch in the middle of the year, verbatim by the FedNow personnel during an interview with Finastra. So shout out to Mr. Mann on that. Let's play it.
Can we discuss timeline requirements, onboarding process to launch FedNow service?
Yeah, so we have an active pilot program with 120 organizations to basically help us build out the FedNow system. That's been active for a couple years. And we hope, and we are actively recruiting what we're calling early adopters right now. And what does that mean? We're hoping we can get a good couple hundred customers that are in the position to both real-time post and connect. So when we turn on our testing system, which is late this year or first quarter of 23, they will be able to test our system. So when we flip the switch, and let's assume it is middle of 23, we will have several hundred customers on the system moving transactions. Okay. We do not have a formal schedule yet, but those are the rough time frames of when we hope FedNow will be live. And go back a slide. Yeah. There's also.
So when we flip the switch, he said, in the middle of this year. So then Europe might get ready to accept BRICS currency. So Europe gets ready to accept BRICS currency after Iraq bans the US dollar nationwide to strengthen local economies. A lot of things happening, man. And then this is the big kahuna. So I'm going to go to the Bank for International Settlements. We're going to end it off on this. This is an overview of what's to come. I'm going to do specific deep dive videos on all these and really go into it. But you got to see this. All right. So right here, a unified ledger. So there's coming soon, the BIS Annual Economic Report 2023 will explore combining money, assets, and information on a common programmable platform, a unified ledger. So let's hear them.
Ability and automated transfers could benefit consumers through more convenient and cheaper flow.
So June 25th, like I've been saying, the big things that are going to happen with crypto are going to be from these international organizations or institutions or conferences. We saw at the IMF's annual conference in April, that Unicoin. And then we have this unified ledger and it being unveiled, this common platform in June 25th. Then we have the BRICS kind of conference coming up. I think it's August. Then we have the G7 or G20 conference with India leading it, talking about regulations of digital assets and international coordinated effort. So we're going to see the big things happen at those international conferences, international institutions, and things like that. So I'm going to dive into these deeper on a deeper level. We'll get into all of it, but definitely some crazy times are ahead, and it's not done till it's done. That's for sure. There's always going to be curveballs. You just got to, duck and dodge them, but stay the course. We're seeing the market bounce right now. We're at 25,719. So we've gotten a nice little bounce up. We had made a market update earlier today. So it looks like what we said in that video is panning out right now. So yeah. So that's it for the newsletter, guys. And I will see you in the Discord. If you're not already in the Discord, link is in the bio. Come join it, say what up, and I'll see you over there.